Hi, my name is Coco with blackfilm.com, and I'm here with Frankie Faison, star of Till, which is in theaters now. Thank you so much for joining me, Mr. Faison.
My pleasure.
And I've spoken with you before during your press run for the killing of Kenneth Chamberlain, which was also based on a true story and also a very
Right.
intense role. And you play John Carthan, who is
That's
Mamie Till's
correct.
father. So talk to me about what makes you choose these kinds of
Yes.
projects that are real life, but also that really draw something out of you, where you're also the family is watching, and there's a higher stakes. It's not fiction.
Well, first of all, that's families, stakes, family concerns, family, anything family is always at the top of my list because I believe family is the driving force to any kind of existence in this world.
Mm,
So I often look for things that really resonate to me in that kind of way. So if it's a father or a brother or an uncle or cousin, something like that, I'm really there because I like to make statement films. I like to do
mm,
things that stories that impact and change and influence people's lives. So
mm,
Till as well as Kenneth Chamberlain, they were both they were easy for me to decide to do.
mm-hmm,
Kenneth Chamberlain I did first, and after I did Kenneth Chamberlain, I didn't know if I had it in me to do Till
mm-hmm.
because these things they when I give to these projects, I give all of me, as the saying
Yeah.
goes, and it's right. This Till came right on the heels of Kenneth Chamberlain, and I'm like, oh man, I am exhausted. I gave everything that I had to that, and now you want me to do this other film, and I had to. I mean, I said no to this film Till a couple of times, but they kept
Really.
being persistent and saying,
Hmm.
Frankie, you have to come in, you have to do this film. And I finally, said yes. And I'm glad that I did because they said, it won't be the same as Kenneth Chamberlain. You won't be, this is spread out a little more evenly and things,
Yeah.
and plus, there's the wonderful Danielle Deadwilder who's driving this coach, this
Hmm.
Till wagon. And so I'm there as a strong support. And that was very, very important to me.
Yes, and it was very important to see the dynamic between her and her father, and just without giving the movie away with how everything unfolds, he wanted to be there for her in a way that she didn't know that he was going to show up in that way. But it was extremely important for her to accept that love and that help in that moment.
And which is a very difficult thing. And
Hmm.
that's another reason I'm drawn to these kinds of projects and these kinds of relationships. I mean, they mean the world to me because who has not been in her life. And
Hmm.
at this time, at this crucial moment in her life, I mean, there's nothing more significant or more in this moment in Mamie's life. And her father, John, he comes in and he says, I'm going to be a support. I haven't been there for you, maybe in those other ways, but I'm here for you now. And I will
Hmm.
not let you move forward without me being there for you. And that was
Hmm.
even at the even though it caused a little bit of rift between the mother
Hmm.
and myself. It was it just goes to show that that father's support is very important in some cases,
Yes.
and especially in a case like this. They're going down south, and it's like there's a double barrel discrimination
Hmm.
against you because you're black, and then there's going to be a discrimination against you because you're a female too. But at
Hmm.
least with a man there, they can back off just a little bit. I mean, can get a little bit, you can get a little bit more, more understanding,
Hmm.
or people will they won't strike as hard, as fierce as they would if it
Hmm.
was just two women down there.
Hmm.
So I mean, I think that had a lot to do with it as well. It shows that strength, that connection between father and daughter, or it would be father and son if it was son, but father and
Right.
daughter is really significant. I have three daughters, so it's
Hmm.
very important to me to be a strong male presence in their lives. And this is like, yeah, I mean, just to see John standing in the courtroom down south, and I mean, it just makes my heart boil over with joy.
Yeah,
you
no,
know.
certainly.
So
And I've seen you talk about, I don't think sometimes people don't really conceptualize that this really wasn't that long ago, something so heinous, and it just wasn't like forever ago. You've talked about being a little boy in Newport News when this happened. And what was the personal impact to you? Because I know you said that you kept turning it down, but once you decided to go ahead and sign on for the project, what has been the personal impact to you as far as seeing it through and getting to work with Daniel Deadweiler, Whoopi? You got Jalen, who did an amazing job, Sean Patrick Thomas. Let's just, tell me about that.
mm. Well, to me, it sort of like filled because this incident occurred in 1955. I was about 6 years
Mhm.
old, so the significance of it, the impact of it, didn't hit me full till until now.
Mhm.
Now that I go back and revisit it, and playing the role of the grandfather, and playing the friend, and playing the community person, it fills a void
Mhm.
that was vacant in my life because I didn't get a chance to experience it in that way then. But now it's a piece of history. You must admit that it's a piece of history that's been sort of swept under the carpet. I mean, I've spoken to people from, and so many of our, and it crosses, black, white,
Yeah.
Hispanic, and people weren't familiar with Emmett Till.
Yeah.
They would be saying like, "Who is he? What did he do?" It helps to do that, and now to work with Whoopi and Sean and then John Thompson
Mhm.
and Danielle in recapturing and bringing this bit of history into the lives of older generation, the middle-aged generation, and the young generation
Yeah.
is so significant and important to
Mhm.
me.
And
I'm just so yeah, I cannot be happy.
I'm so happy that you're a part of this project. I'm glad that you didn't turn it down again. um, one of the things I noted too is that when you're watching this film and you're seeing the decision that had to be made, like we don't want to choose children, but we want to make best decisions. So there's that pivotal moment where Emmett is unfortunately kidnapped, where different decisions could have been made, just that could have just changed the outcome entirely. And seeing Mamie have to understand and realize that was so heartbreaking. And like that movie, it really walks you through everything she had to go through to become the strong woman that she remained, and for the activism that she continued to do. She wasn't just thinking about herself or her son. She was thinking about being an activist for the world and to prevent this from happening at all ever again.
Right.
Mhm.
I mean, and she makes such an amazing statement when she says, in the past, when something happened bad, killings down south, she thought it was them. It was
Right.
happening to them down there.
Mhm.
But now she realizes it's happened to all of us. Everyone has
Mhm.
to take the responsibility and take part in making a change to make sure that this kind of thing does not happen again.
Mhm.
And I mean, that is such an impactful statement
Mhm.
that she makes among many. I mean, there are so many. You can see why this character, who is she's very little realized in the history books, but you
Mhm.
can see how important she is because she was right there at the beginning of the civil rights movement,
Yeah.
and this courageous thing that she did, it was like a kick in the rump. It was like saying, no, we will not take this, and I will be a spokesman, and I
Mhm.
will take on that responsibility,
Mhm.
and because it's wrong, and I will have the courage to go out there and speak up. And it is and it's a shame that this thing happened in 1955,
Yeah.
but you just need to open up your eyes and look around you, and you see it happening even is
Yeah.
it
There are parallels
sad to
now.
think that
And
them.
this movie
Yes.
across the board has received many, many positive reviews. It's like 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's just, I mean, there's just glowing reviews by renowned critics. And one of the things I've noticed though, sight unseen, there are people that don't want to watch the movie. They're kind of having these online think pieces like, we don't want to see this kind of negativity. Why are we always talking about like, sort of like Black trauma all the time? But I think it's important to note that director Chinonye Chukwu made for certain that she did not want this film to actually focus on the physical pain and trauma that Emmett Till had to go through. And that's not what this film is about. That's not what it focuses on. And it's actually a story of a woman who is so resilient and triumphant that you are energized in and of, within your own life to do better and be better. And I think people need to realize that if you're making that judgment before you see a single second of this film, you just got it wrong.
Yes, and to me, world of difference, the importance of the fact that all of the violence, the heinousness of this crime is obvious. We know that. You just speak the words and you know that. But the fact that Chinonye, our director, who did such an amazing job of keeping that aspect of it away from this film. This film is about family, it's about community, it's about people asserting themselves and being responsible for the lives and the well-being of those in their community and in their family. And that's the strongest message that this film gives. And those who feel a little bit shy about seeing it because they think it's going to be just this thing about how ugly and horrific this single act was, they are missing a lot, because the love that existed, the mother and the son, and the cousins, and they're missing how impactful it is to make decisions that sometimes out of your control and that will have consequences that could be just very, very bad for people. And I think that they are missing those points, missing those connections. This is what this film is focusing on. And this is the story that it's trying to tell. So I would advise people to give it a chance, because what's going to be thrust into your face is a sense of love and community and support and strength and moving forward and trying to make sure that something like this never occurs again. But it has, and you've seen it, very recently in, many instances. But
I mean, they just recently passed an anti-lynching bill. Recently.
I know. And this is like how many years later?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, but well, like you say, they at least did it. Well, so okay, so we can say at least it has been done.
Things are
what now?
Yeah.
What now? Where do we go from here?
No, for sure. And again, when we're talking about this not happening that long ago, the woman that accused Emmett Till of this crime, that they've said that she's recanted statements in private. She's never truly admitted to anything, but she's still alive. Living a quiet life untouched.
Now, this is a place where I've had to get an education from different people who were involved in the film, and even from family members, because at first my feeling was this woman is in her age like this, and I'm hoping that every day of her life that she's had to relive something about this situation, and that in my mind is punishment enough. How do you punish someone 80s who they're in their last days on this earth? And I was always sympathetic and say, well, who cares? And then they told me about the horrific nature of what this family had to endure, had to see and experience and witness. And they say it's not so much, yes, this woman should be tried. I mean, her crime should be brought forward, and she should be persecuted for that crime. It made me change my whole opinion. It doesn't matter whether she's 8 or 80 or 100, it doesn't matter. It's forth so that the family can feel some sense that this, what is the word that I'm looking for?
I don't think you'll ever really get closure, but just that justice and
accountability is the word. Accountability.
Yes.
That's the word I'm looking for. Because that's what if she's properly persecuted and found guilty in this, then at least the family will have said, hey, there is some sense of accountability that has been given to this family and to the community at large as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So yes, so I changed. I did a flip on that, man. I tell
Hmm.
you. But my whole thing is, the way I was brought up, my religious upbringing, my, you know, the forgiveness that you must forgive somebody 100 times, 100-fold, or whatever the gospel saying is. So I have a very forgiving nature.
I'm not necessarily like eye for an eye. Like I don't have to get my, get back in that sense. I'm at peace at this stage in my life where that's not necessary. So I understand both sides of how you felt in that sense. So as far as what I think in her case, I do believe that even at this age, I'm going with your new stance on this. I believe that no matter the age, because it's such a heinous crime, that she should be called up, and let's talk about what you did. Yeah, I
Yes,
think that would, for me, that would provide a
right.
sense of peace. It's that's really crazy.
Oh,
Hmm.
absolutely. And I know this family they've had to endure this for so many years. No, and like even with I back to the Chamberlain film, this case, that there too, those guys, those police officers who committed this crime, they have never been brought forth. There's been no accountability
Hmm.
given to them either. They've been, although the film did bring it back into focus, and there's going to be another hearing for this,
Mm.
so maybe they will get there. I understand that there was something about the town trying to do a settlement of a certain
Hmm.
amount of dollars,
Hmm.
but it's not about the dollars at this point. These guys being exposed
Yeah, it's
for
truly,
this
that's the
thing
justice.
that they did to this end.
Hmm.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I mean, these things, I find myself in the middle of being a spokesperson for these things, and looking at both
Yeah.
sides, looking on the side of law enforcement and looking on the side of the victim.
Hmm.
And I'm working on a TV series right now called The Rookie. I play a character who was incarcerated wrongly, and now his daughter, who is the oldest FBI recruit, is working for the FBI, and so you get a chance to see how that he wants police
Hmm.
reform. He doesn't want to dispense of it, the police. He wants to
Hmm.
educate them, and she's over there working from the inside out. So it's a beautiful thing. So I think that these last three projects I've been involved in, they've all been very much politically, and a voice to be
Yeah.
heard about
Yes.
law enforcement and community. All these, and and I'm honored to be able to wear that badge of honor, in these projects.
Yes, most certainly. I'm so glad to speak with you again, Mr. Frankie Faison. It's always a pleasure. And
Same
hopefully,
here.
when I ring your doorbell to talk about this next project, hopefully you answer.
I will answer. You got my guarantee. I will be
Okay,
there.
okay, good. Now you said I have your guarantee, so I will. Well,
I trust me. My word is my bond.
I know it.
So no, and it's always great speaking to you. You
Thank
give
you.
such great questions and such great insight. I really appreciate
Thank you so much. It's
that.
been
I learn
such
something
a.
new about myself every time we speak.
You're
Okay.
like, oh, I did that. Not for
Yeah,
me.
yeah. So
Once again, my name is Coco with blackfilm.com, and I'm here with Frankie Faison, star of Till. It's in theaters now, and anybody that's saying that they don't want to watch the film because they're expecting a level of trauma, this film is not about trauma. It is about the story of Mamie Till, and it is about honoring her legacy in the best way. I promise you, this film it's really, really as good as has been celebrated by critics. Truly, truly, truly. Thank you.
thank you.
Look, standing ovation for both of
Bye.
us.
Yeah.
Standing ovation. Bye, Mr.
Yeah.
Faison. If you
Yes.
want to see more content like this on blackfilm.com, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell.